spirited campaign, but Edmund Mahn was re-elected. Further bombings, but opened major rifts within the Marlinist colonies. Salvation once again.
You have cleared the no fires. Flight control, signing off.
Frameshift to MegaTroy.
Pilots to track down survivors from the Hesperus. This led to the discovery of an ancient Guardian Thargoid battleground, where azimuth scientists had built a research base around their vessel Proteus. All were killed by
3, 2,
unusual experiments into weaponizing Guardian crystals. The Proactive Detection Bureau had been generally accepted by federal citizens, but many claimed it was a violation of civil liberties. A retrospective of 3307, Part 2. Continuing a series of articles by historian Seema Kalhana that look at the most newsworthy events during the past year. April 3307 saw the creation of the Federation's Proactive Detection Bureau in reaction to the 9 Martyrs bombings. This organization monitored all public and private communications for evidence of terrorists to prevent similar attacks in future. But its highly controversial nature would soon present the Federation with new challenges. ACT's investigation led them to the Neo-Marlinist Order of Madrid, which had helped to deliver the caustic enzyme bombs to their 9 targets. The faction's defeat was an early victory against the NMLA, but much of the organization remained a mystery. When the ghost ship Adamastor began receiving an encoded signal, this began an entire saga of mysteries. Its long-lost sister ship, the Hesperus, was soon located by pilots who had been recruited by an anonymous figure named Salvation. His interest in azimuth biochemicals, the 200-year-old corporation that owned both vessels, would bring a strange twist to the ongoing Thargoid conflict. In May, Hadrian Duval was targeted by federal forces after accusations that he was the mastermind behind the NMLA. The specter of Empire Federation war rose once again as Nova Imperium successfully defended itself, but ACT concluded that evidence had been falsified to implicate Hadrian and his new wife Lady Astrid. Aegis came under intense scrutiny when the megaship Alexandria, laden with newly collected Guardian artifacts, began attracting Thargoids in every system it jumped to. The Alexandria later vanished completely in hyperspace, and to this day remains missing, presumed destroyed. The Alliance election finally took place at the end of May, having been delayed by 3 months due to the Galactic Summit. Councillor Nakato Kane fought a spirited campaign, but Edmund Mahn was re-elected to serve a second term as Prime Minister. Supporters of Neo-Marlinism gained a voice in June, when Minister Aaron White offered a peace deal with the Empire to prevent further terrorism. The idea of a political wing of the NMLA gained support from those fearing further bombings, but opened major rifts within the Marlinist colonies. Salvation once again contacted pilots to track down survivors from the Hesperus. This led to the discovery of an ancient Guardian Thargoid battleground, where azimuth scientists had built a research base around their vessel Proteus. All were killed by unusual experiments into weaponizing Guardian crystals. The Proactive Detection Bureau had been generally accepted by federal citizens, but many claimed it was a violation of civil liberties. Halfway through the year, the Azalachu Free faction took the bold step of seceding from the Federation, thus triggering the possibility of mass rebellion. retrospective of 3307, Part 1. The noted historian Seema Kalhana takes a look back at the turbulent events of the last year in a 4-part series of articles. The start of 3307 was a time of crisis. The rise of the Neo-Marlinist Liberation Army, the Marlinist refugee crisis and increased Empire Federation tensions had brought a full-scale superpower war closer, with renewed attacks from the Thargoids increasing the pressure. All of this led to Pranav Antar's proposal of a diplomatic conference for all 3 superpower governments to work through their problems, the very first Galactic Summit. Within weeks, Sirius Corporation was selected as the neutral host for the conference. Liang Rui scored another triumph by establishing the Marlinist colonies for millions of political refugees who had fled from the Empire. In February came the trial of Fleet Admiral Vincent, accused of arranging Starship One's destruction back in 3301. His paymaster was revealed as Core Dynamics CEO Jupiter Rochester, who wanted to replace federal democracy with direct corporate rule. His breakaway faction Jupiter Division was defeated in battle and Rochester himself jailed for life. This also led to Core Dynamics' acquisition of Lacon Spaceways being cancelled, leaving the Alliance to purchase a majority sharehold in the company. Key players on the political stage finally gathered when the Galactic Summit began in late February. The Sirius system hosted leaders from the Alliance, Empire, Federation and Independent systems. Even pirate warlord Archon Delane gatecrashed the event, causing controversy with his Crown of Bones speech. It seemed for a while that the bickering between so many strong personalities might trigger a war rather than avert one. But gradually there was progress, with the possibility of a treaty to increase unity against the Thargoid threat. But before reaching this conclusion, the summit was derailed by a threat from another source. LA leader Theta-7 was the largest terrorist attack in history. Hundreds of thousands were killed by starport bombings in 9 systems, including the superpower capitals of Alioth, Akanar and Sol. This horrific tragedy ended the conference abruptly, but did give rise to some interpower cooperation. A new agreement signed at the Galactic Summit allowed the affiliated counterterrorism unit to be formed rapidly. Drawing on the superpower security services and other organizations, its sole purpose was to hunt down and eliminate the NMLA, a task that would dominate the headlines for the rest of the year. Galnet, apology for unauthorized broadcasts. Pilots Federation alert. The Galnet editorial team expresses its sincere regret that further unscheduled messages have been recently published. A second batch of riddles were unlawfully transmitted across Galnet public feeds on the 24th, 25th and 26th of December. As with the 3 previous broadcasts, they were designed to invite independent pilots to locate a series of concealed caches. Our technical teams have identified the method by which the criminal known as the Winking Cat inserted unapproved articles into Galnet's publication network. Security protocols have been heavily reinforced, and we are confident that no further intrusion.
Individuals, Denton Patrius. What disgusts me? That's a perceptive question. By asking it, you reveal that you consider me a man of taste. If you'd asked me what I hated, I'm not sure I could have hidden my disappointment at such a banal question. But disgust, that deserves an answer. It's jealousy that most disgusts me. It's such a petty, self-defeating emotion. I see it every day. Most men look at me and think, I want what he has. Perhaps 1 in 1,000 thinks, how can I achieve what he achieved? Now, he's not jealous, he's motivated. Who knows, we might work together one day. But most men are not like that. They have the desire, but not the initiative. It's like a dog watching you eat and wishing he was a human. And that's the tragic thing about jealous people. They think they hate me, but really, they hate themselves. Because deep in their hearts, they know they're too lazy to fight for their dreams.
Denton Patrius, a fireside chat with Serena, 3302. Denton Patrius is a powerful Imperial senator and the Admiral of the Imperial Fleet. He is a controversial figure, admired by many Imperials for his wealth and influence, but deeply unpopular in other quarters for his uncompromising approach to debtors. He is also noted for commanding one of the strongest private military fleets in colonized space. Patrius has repeatedly to struggling governments via shell companies, only to later hike up the interest rates. When the government defaults on the loan, a common occurrence, Patrius moves in to foreclose. Since few governments are able to match the power of his private fleet, this is usually a one-sided affair, although some governments have appealed for and received the aid of independent pilots. This strategy has brought numerous systems under the control of Patrius's various corporations. If Patrius has any long-term goals beyond increasing his personal power and holding the line against the Alliance and the Federation, they're not publicly known. Politically, he has always played the part of the loyal Imperial. He accepts the need for progress, and has devoted considerable attention to eradicating Emperor's Dawn, an insurgent organization responsible for the assassination of Emperor Hengist de Val. His support for the Empire has been well rewarded, and as Admiral of the Fleet, he enjoys an enviable level of prestige. But even this may not be enough, and many have speculated that Patrius harbors a desire to become Emperor. During the period of uncertainty that followed the death of Hengist de Val, Patrius suggested that the title of Emperor be assigned on the basis of public support, rather than lineal descent, a statement that was widely interpreted as a bid for the throne. When the succession passed to Orissa Lavinie de Val by vote of the Senate, Patrius did not contest it. The question of who should succeed Orissa Lavinie de Val is now a pertinent one. Imperial commentators have suggested that Patrius's highly visible courtship of Princess Aisling de Val may be part of a long-term strategy, as well as a piece of savvy media manipulation. Orissa Lavinie de Val has no children, whereas a child born to a Patrius de Val partnership could be an extremely strong contender for the throne. Individuals. Edmund Mahon.
Naturally, we faced criticism over the Lu conflict. Many people thought we should have been in there, guns blazing. On the one hand, you have a system that wants to be independent, and on the other, you have the oppressive Federation telling them no. The authorities in Lu put out a call for aid, and what did the Alliance do? We turned them down. That would never have happened on the Holos, would it? I would have been at the head of the Alliance fleet, taking down the Fed-Cap ship with a well-aimed torpedo up the tailpipe. But life isn't like the Holos. You need political and legal clarity. When Lu asked for our help, who exactly was doing the asking? The people? All right then, which people? Who counted their votes, and how was the process monitored? Was their decision an informed one, or were they bombarded with propaganda? The Alliance is rigorous, you see. You can't join a voluntary association of free systems unless you can offer demonstrable proof of your freedom to choose, just as you can't enter into a contract without being of sound mind, acting without coercion.
Edmund Mahon, responding to a question from Jessica Braganza, one of a party of schoolchildren visiting the Prime Minister's residence. Edmund Mahon is the current Prime Minister of the Alliance. The product of a corn-farming family based on Birmingham in the DSO system, Mahon was hard-working and shrewd from an early age, with a particular talent for negotiation. Nobody seemed able to beat his crop prices down, and he always managed to shave something off the asking price of any tools or machinery the family needed. In the first book of his autobiography, The Shadow of Silo 7, he attributes this talent to preparatory research, claiming that he always found out as much as he could about the people he would be dealing with before meeting them. At 18, Mahon won a federal scholarship to study law. Frustrated with what he saw as the imbalance of power between corporations and their employees, Mahon intended to specialize in cases of corporate exploitation. He quickly found, however, that the legal profession was not to his liking. Awash with duplicity, double talk, and corruption was his assessment, and he switched track to political science. 2 years into his course, and following an increasingly vocal series of broadcasts on a personal video channel in which he argued in favor of the newly formed alliance, Mahon's scholarship funds were abruptly cut off. He had unknowingly violated a clause that required him to refrain from public criticism of the federal government. Unwilling to return to his family without having made something of himself, Mahon had no choice but to look for work while continuing to study. The bar in which he had spent so many hours as a student was happy to take him on as a bartender, and he proved so competent that after his graduation he took on the role of manager. Mahon claims it was this experience, rather than any innate idealism, that set him on the path to becoming a career politician. As he puts it, a good bartender has to be able to listen and to give equal respect to everyone while demanding that others do the same. He has to be able to distinguish what is meant from what is said, encourage free exchange of views while tactfully enforcing the rules, and, when necessary, break up fights. Mahon's break into politics came when his friends encouraged him to run for city office against the favoured corporate candidate, Jensen Crane. The Mahon campaign began as a token protest, since Crane was expected to win by a comfortable majority. Mahon eviscerated Crane in the live debates, however, winning over the audience with a combination of wry humour and an empathetic awareness of local concerns that Crane could not hope to match, living as he did in a high-altitude apartment complex. Crane was elected by a narrow margin, but Mahon's supporters begged him to continue in politics. So it was that, at the age of just 27, Mahon found himself working alongside elder statespersons, helping with the campaign to break the DSO system away from the Federation and make it a part of the Alliance. By the time DSO joined the Alliance in 3286, Mahon was a seasoned parliamentarian. He served as a planetary representative several times before making his bid for the premiership.
Frameshift drive charging.
Individuals. Felicia Winters.
Politics has always been a breeding ground for lies. But
3, 2, 1,
one lie outshines all the others. And today, we heard it once again. It is the insinuation that to seek a diplomatic solution is weak.
Vosk Tech.
Mike Echo Golf. Please submit a land request to approach commander. Access granted. Please head directly for Bay 1-2. Automated docking initiated. Contact, perform landing checklist. Station services are at your disposal.
Request granted.